Carve your name on hearts, not tombstones. A legacy is etched into the minds of others and the stories they share about you. Sharon L. Alder. You don't get to choose whether you build a legacy. You're building one right now. Every repeated action becomes a pattern. Every pattern becomes a reputation. And eventually, that reputation becomes your identity. First to those around you, but then to yourself also. Think about it. The word legacy. We often imagine it as something dramatic, something that gets looked back on at some later date, something that's commanding and has reverence. But the reality is, it's actually more generic. Legacy is the accumulation of your unremarkable days. It's how you handle boredom. It's how you respond when you're inconvenienced. It's whether your standards stay constant when you're not under someone's microscope. Legacy doesn't have a neutral setting. If your habits are inconsistent, that's being acknowledged. If how you honor your word fluctuates, that's being remembered. When you negotiate with yourself instead of maintaining commitment and consistency, that's getting recorded too. And not just by the world, but by you as well. The reality is, you and the legacy that you'll leave behind aren't shaped by what you believe about yourself. They're shaped by what you consistently tolerate from yourself. However, the idea of legacy likely doesn't start with impact. It more than likely starts with you and your self-trust. That's the invisible side of legacy, which has its foundation in integrity. We talk about integrity as if it's something we wear like a badge of honor, like it's something other people can see and compliment us on. But it's not integrity itself that people see. It's the byproducts of having integrity that people can recognize. In most cases, integrity is private to you. It's the moment you said you wouldn't react that way again, and you didn't. Or it's when you said you'd take care of something, but when the time came, you didn't feel like doing it. And yet you did it anyway. You weren't asking for acknowledgement. You weren't looking for recognition. And for the most part, no one's keeping score on those moments. But you do. However, when your private actions don't match the standards you claim to have, something inside you shifts. Even if you don't consciously acknowledge it, your inner voice senses a mistrust. You start negotiating with yourself more frequently. You're more likely to procrastinate on things that you know matter. You get irritated faster. You start trying to control or criticize other people's behavior, almost like you're trying to compensate for something missing in you. Even if you can honestly say you've never done it, I'm sure you've seen someone else do it. But why does wanting to control and critique others show up when no one's even talking about discipline? Maybe it's because when we don't trust ourselves and we don't have internal discipline, we look for something else to control. And here's something else for you. If you can't rely on your own word to yourself, why would your future self trust you either? Legacy isn't just what you leave behind. It's who you're becoming. And trust in yourself is the core of that. You claim to value health. Do you ignore yours? You say you value growth. Do you avoid being uncomfortable? Those gaps lower your standards. And over time, those lower standards become your baseline. There's another piece to this puzzle. And even if you don't recognize it in yourself, I'm sure you see it in others. It's the word or the feeling of deserve. Now, on the surface, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a version of deserve that isn't about recovery. It's about permission. Permission to take steps backwards. And it's subtle. Say you've worked hard all week, so you feel that you deserve to skip your workout. You've been polite and held your tongue all day, so you deserve to not watch your tone at home. You've been disciplined in one area, so you deserve to take it easy somewhere else. You negotiate with yourself. I ate good this week. I deserve this large pizza. And that's where allowances begin. You build credit in one category and then spend it in another. But standards don't really work that way. Character doesn't transfer like points in a game. When deserve becomes your internal justification, it's usually a warning light telling you that entitlement is starting to creep in. And entitlement is the gateway to losing your direction. It doesn't look or feel dramatic. It's just a slight reducing of your discipline, cutting tiny corners that feel harmless in the small picture. But when you zoom out, those small concessions stack up. And that stack is part of your legacy also. So maybe the better question isn't, what do I deserve right now? Maybe it's, is this aligned with the standards I say that I live by? However, before we continue, let's take a break and give me a moment to talk to you about some changes coming to these episodes. These episodes are getting a new home. They're getting their own podcast. I'm also going to rebrand it. It's going from the Mindset Debrief to the Standard Within. For the remainder of March, these episodes will be posted under the Transition Drill podcast, as well as under their own podcast, The Standard Within. Then, starting in April, they will only be available under The Standard Within. Nothing about the concept or the context of the episodes is changing. I'm simply separating them off to allow for better organic discovery as their own entity. The name rebrand, that's for a little better separation from the other podcasts with similar names. I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. If you like watching the episodes, please go subscribe to the Standard Within channel on YouTube. Again, starting in April, the episodes will only be released on the Standard Within channels. And if you're already subscribed, you won't miss out on any new episodes. However, this would be a huge help for me. By already having followers come April, that will also help the new episodes get pushed to a larger audience. So please, help me out, go subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to these episodes. Send me your feedback on whatever you like or what I should consider changing. All right, let's get back into this episode. The more we believe that we deserve something, frustration likes to fill the void that's created in our accountability. When things are smooth, almost anyone can seem disciplined, polite, and thoughtful. It's easy to have high standards when nothing's making you work for it. But frustration strips that away. You're tired. You're running behind. Someone drops the ball. Someone makes a mistake. Again. A plan changes. And before you can even think about it, your tone shifts. And what I mean by tone, it's not just your voice. It's also your body language. That's closer to your real standard than your intentions are. And if I'm being honest, the people who have shaped me the most weren't defined by their resumes. They were defined by how they carried themselves when things went wrong, especially with the people closest to them. It's easy to manage your image in public. It's harder to manage your tone at home, with a close teammate, or with someone who can't really do anything for you. And here's the legacy gut check. If your default under stress is being dismissive, sarcastic, or cold, that's not just a bad moment. That's a glimpse, not of who you hope to be, of who you are when pressure removes the filter. Now, that doesn't mean that you're stuck there. It just means frustration is telling you the truth. It's like when people say the drunk you is the real you. And if legacy is built daily, then the way you handle irritation might matter more than the way you handle applause. It might actually mean how you handle resentment. Because resentment doesn't usually show up loud at first. It's quiet. It builds in small, almost invisible layers. You say yes when you meant no. You take on more than you should. You didn't speak up about something that bothered you. You bite your tongue. You overextend yourself again and again. When you're doing it, you might feel like you're being responsible. You're being selfless. You're strong in your convictions. But if you're honest, sometimes it's not strength. Sometimes it's avoidance. Avoidance of those hard conversations. Avoidance of disappointing someone. Avoidance of setting a boundary and then dealing with the discomfort that comes with holding to it. And those little self-betrayals, they build up over time. You don't feel it immediately. It's just a slow accumulation. Then one day, it flips on you. All that quiet overextension turns into your boiling point. You tell yourself, or maybe even tell others, no one appreciates me. I'm doing everything around here. No one respects me. And those ideas in your head feel justified. But once resentment feels justified, dropping your standards feels justified too. Your effort drops. Your patience wears even more thin. But if you trace it back, a lot of that resentment started with you not being honest with yourself, not protecting your own limits, not aligning your actions with your actual capacity. Legacy isn't just built by discipline, it's protected by boundaries. If you don't guard those, resentment will quietly rewrite your standards for you. Additionally, the more you start to see yourself a certain way, someone who's disciplined, reliable, calm, strong, the harder it becomes to admit when you're not living that way. Because now it's not just about a bad choice, it's about identity. If you think of yourself as a disciplined person and you skip what you committed to, that stings more than just not hitting a task. And our minds don't like that. So what happens is our minds explain it away. You must have needed the rest. It really wasn't that important. You've already done enough, or at least more than everyone else. Somebody else would have quit a long time ago. Any of those sound familiar? We protect the identity in our head instead of strengthening it in real life. And that's a trap. When a choice risks your self-image, excuses can get more creative or more convincing. Now it's not just that you're avoiding discomfort, you're defending who you believe you are. But here's the irony. The only way to actually become disciplined is to risk not looking disciplined at the moment, to admit you fell short, to own it, to correct it without crafting a story around it. If you can't tolerate the hit to your ego, you'll protect the idea of yourself while weakening the reality of yourself. And legacy isn't built on the idea of who you are. It's built on what you repeatedly do, especially when it challenges the version of you that feels safe. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes with me. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, and keep showing up.